So for the longest time, I was trying to decide if my next video was going to be a major video, if it was going to be me shooting the shit, and just in general what I wanted to do. And just a thought occurred to me on what I want this video to be. In this video, I want to talk about my top 10 favorite games that I want a sequel for. And the sequel has either been heavily postponed, delayed, or it's up in the air if we'll ever get it in the first place. Since I'm just being utterly biased, I didn't feel like it was properly right to have this being a full-on scripted, proper video. So instead, I'm effectively going to be shooting the shit. It's effectively going to be a mix between my quick thoughts videos and my major videos. There's going to be a little bit of editing here and there. For the most part, again, it's just me shooting the shit. Either way, let's get into it, shall we? Number 10, Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Now, I know a lot of you are already looking at this list and what I just said and we're like, wait, but Pokemon Gen 2 does have sequels, Gen 3 through 8. Hell, it even had a remake on the DS, and a lot of people consider the best Pokemon game, period. And while that is true, there's a certain concept about Generation 2 that I like the most. So for those who don't know, the development of Generation 2 was set to be Game Freak's final Pokemon game, and they wanted to go out with a bang. And because of that, they added not only a new generation and one of the largest roster increases of Pokemon, but they also added the original generation of Pokemon, where you got to see into the future a little bit of a lot of these trainers and their futures. Blue becoming the gym leader of Viridian City. It was Viridian, right? No. Or was it? It was Radiant City, right? I can't quite read it. Koga becoming an Elite Four member, his daughter taking over his gym, and then at the very pinnacle, after you beat all 16 gyms, you are greeted to a challenge at the very end of it being your player character from the first game. Now, personally, I played Pokemon Generation 1 and 2 around the time where the Pokemon anime started. So, I almost copied Ash's team to make in my game. I had Pokemon Yellow as my most played version of Generation 1, so I had the Pikachu, the Snorlax, the Blastoise, the Charizard, etc., etc. So it felt like Game Freak basically broke into my house, copied my file of what my team was, and just expanded it to Generation 2. It was Game Freak's way of saying, you are the best trainer in the world. And even to this day, his Pokemon are still some of the highest level Pokemon you can fight in game. So what I'm saying with this is, what am I talking about? Why I want this as a sequel? Basically, I'm saying I missed when Game Freak gave a damn. I meant another quality sequel of Pokemon. Ever since around Generation 6, the Pokemon games have kind of started to take a nosedive in quality. Whether it be the animations being lackluster, the models being lazy, the animations being lazy, or more importantly, in this later generation, literally cutting away half of the roster, the reason to play Pokemon, just taking it away. It's just utterly gone. Except it's not gone, because it's still in the files, and they're making you pay for it to the case of microtransactions and expansions. That's right, they're pulling that time-honored classic of removing a feature and making you pay for its return, because everyone loves that, right? I was almost okay with them removing the roster or heavily reducing it right up until around the time we found out the reason of doing it were all lies. So, yeah, that's my number 10. I want a sequel to quality Pokemon games again. The chances of us getting that, though, basically zero. For as much as people want to bitch and whine and say that this is now dead, or Game Freak is now dead, or these Pokemon generations are going downhill, guess what? This latest game sold more than literally all the other ones. So the chances of us getting a sequel of quality Pokemon ever again is zero. Luckily, we still have side projects and shit to showcase that, at least the other companies would give it a chance to use this IP, give a damn. But Game Freak, not so much. Number 9, Def Jam Fight for New York! God, I loved this game back in the Xbox era. It was one of the few games. Oh no, I did pirate that game. Wait, no. No, I did pirate that game. My brother did pirate that game for me. But it was just all the right things that make me love video games. It was at the time where crossovers and shit like that were more common. So we got games like this. For those who don't know what it is, it's effectively a WrestleMania game almost, or a wrestling game. mixed with hip-hop icons and idols from the time. You had Ludacris, you had Ice-T, you had Sean Kingston, you had Crazy Legs, yes, the beatboxer Crazy Legs, and the big boss all the way to the top, Snoop Dogg, as the final boss. You had this really, not, I couldn't say it's all well thought out story, but just this fun story of you literally battling your way from nothing all the way to the top. The gameplay was kind of janky, but it was in that fun way of janky. And some of the bosses from that game, I still remember to this day. Ice-T kicked my ass for literal days straight. I still remember his win con to this day. Here you go. Have some from fucking nostalgia flashbacks or PTSD for the people who played the game back then as well.
You're nothing but a punk, your daddy's a punk, and your mama's a bitch.
Oh man, this game was so goddamn fun for no good goddamn reason. Now, what are the chances of us getting another game like this or a sequel to this game? Basically zero. Back in the day where it was as simple as, hello director of this thing, hello director of this thing, I like your thing director of this thing, can I make a game out of it? Sure director of this thing. And that was it to make a video game of licenses products or crossovers. Nowadays it's like, oh, you want to license our person? Well, we need $100 billion. We need to have ownership of your first and second born. We get the right to eat your third born. And we want your left nut, that we're taking ownership of that, and we legally own your right nut. That's just to get a single person in your game if you want to do a crossover. So the chance of us getting another game like this is basically zero. But it is still fun to imagine what it could be. And it's still fun to think about all the crazy shit that happened. Like, we're never going to get a chance to see Snoop Dogg fucking lion barraging someone into the Shadow Realm. And can you imagine if we got to see, I don't know, like Wiz Khalifa, like 619ing Drake or something nonsense like that? So much fun, so much fun. Number 8. Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, it's only been technically a couple of months since this came out. Technically, this came out last year. I already want a sequel. I already talked about it on the final episode of my LP for the game, but again, Ghost of Tsushima is just a finely well-tuned wheel. That's all it is. Every single concept we saw in that game, we've seen in other games. Some better, some worse. We've seen the exploration, we've seen story-driven narrative, we've seen the combat, we've seen the stealth mechanics, we've seen every single thing that appeared in that game before. But the thing that made me like Ghost of Tsushima so much is that it takes all those concepts and just refines them. It says, hey, people like these things. Let's just polish it and refine it and then put it in a day, era, and genre that people like. Feudal Japan. I'm surprised more companies aren't doing this, seeing as how freaking much people like that concept. It's just so good. And if we ever got a sequel, I wouldn't mind if they went more of the mysticism side, like they added in their multiplayer mode, and just go full on stupid levels of over-the-top ghost and ninja action, so that we can remove like the slow climbing up walls and buildings from the grappling hook and make it so you just teleport up there using your ninja magic or whatever. Now, what are the chances of this game getting a sequel? Probably the highest out of any game I've mentioned on this list. More so than any other game, I feel like this game is going to get a sequel just because their track record with these games. Sucker Punch has made at least 2 sequels for all of their games, and every single game they've released so far has been good. So I'm assuming the track record is just going to continue of them making good video games. Number 7. The Sonic Adventure series. Now, I don't think it's really a hot take or a bad opinion to say that we now have more bad to middling Sonic games than good ones, but I feel like the Sonic Adventure series was like that first step into 3D, and it wasn't too terrible. Was it amazing? No, especially the first one. Those animations and that gameplay does not hold up. But I feel like the second one really kind of refined it in certain regards. And overall, I enjoy at least 70 to 80% of that game. The Eggman and Tails stages are kind of hit or miss, especially just with the constant stopping that's going on in the game. But the general flow of both the Sonic Shadow stages and the Knuckles and Rouge stages, I adore. In fact, I even love the Knuckles and Rouge stages more than the Sonic Shadow ones. I know, right? I actually like the treasure hunting. Not only does the gameplay differences between the Sonic and Shadow stages, on top of the outright best music in the game. Fight me, Ego Raptor. And I know that people don't like that kind of thing of hunting around or hating when the crystal, like if the second or third crystal is one you're looking for, and you're directly next to it, and it doesn't appear up on the monitor on your little indicator thing, is annoying. But I've just done them so many times, and I'm able to just kind of suss out where each of the things are. So I really enjoy that aspect. On top of the Chow Garden, which I haven't heard anyone say they don't like, who doesn't like raising their own affected pets, and then seeing your little child kick another child in the face is hilarious. Now, the odds of this getting another sequel, I feel are kind of bad. Sonic Team and Sega in general has kind of showcased they aren't very good at making games themselves as of late, especially Sonic games. However, if a team of developers, of indie developers, started making a Sonic Adventure 3 on their own time, just because they love the concept so much, Sega of all companies would be like, "Oh, that's neat. Hey, you wanna that? Can we buy that? In fact, you wanna work for us?" I mean, that's literally what happened with Sonic Mania. It was a fan-made game that got made official because Sega likes money and realizes that, hey, if someone wants to do our job for us, we'll take it. So there's a chance, I guess. Number 6, Beyond Good and Evil 2. Now, this is also a strange one since technically we have gotten a trailer for it and some gameplay showcase back in 2017 and 2018. And even though I wasn't really feeling the trailer itself, because I don't feel like it needed to be all extra violent and all extra cursing and stuff like that, but this game is in this weird limbo. There is actually a forum going on right now talking about the game, but the last time the devs on it updated it was back in July of last year, so it's really up in the air, which is a shame, because I feel like this game, more so than anything, was almost like Xbox's attempt to get into the Legend of Zelda genre. It wasn't anything all that advanced. The gameplay was kind of simple, all things considered, but generally enjoyable. The exploration was fun. The space travel was fun. And apparently, you're supposed to be able to go to a lot more planets rather than just the main planet and the moon. You're supposed to be able to explore the entire universe, but because of all the cut time, they just had to boil it down to what we got. And what we got was really rather fun and interesting. But sadly, it ended on a cliffhanger. I've heard so many rumors about this game, like it's going to be a live service apparently, that it's maybe not coming out, that it's been canceled, not canceled, and I'm just not sure at all. I really do hope this game comes out, because I really do feel like there's a lot there that really could be expanded upon, especially with that cliffhanger of an ending where we see Paige have the Dom's mark in his hand. So, I can hope, right? Maybe it'll come out someday. Number 5, Final Fantasy Tactics. So I have perfectly showcased that I love both Final Fantasy and I love tactics-based games. So it only makes sense that I would love Final Fantasy Tactics. Funnily enough, I actually didn't get into the original until I played both Advance and A2, or Advance 2 for both the GBA and the DS respectively. But then I went back and originally played the original game on the PlayStation, using an emulator of course, and I've been just blown away. I've always liked that genre of games because I love setting out your pieces, watching them slowly grow, and almost like in a form of like chess, dealing them out and putting them in certain positions to get the maximum reward to eventually win a fight or win the combat or win the encounter. The story in itself is already amazing, and I'm not going to spoil literally anything about it. You want to go enjoy it? Go play it. It is almost like a old school Hamlet level of a narrative that you can really get sunken into, asking about whether how you should do things and what things you're willing to do for the greater good, or if it's even worth it in the general. It's just an amazing story. Now, sadly, the chance of this getting a sequel seems kind of low. In one regard, Final Fantasy, or just Square Enix in general, is kind of popping off. They have Bravely Default 2 coming out soon. Final Fantasy XIV recently announced its new expansion, Endwalker, which will be ending the Zodiac Hydaelyn timeline. What else? Final Fantasy 16 is looking amazing. Final Fantasy 7 Remake it's generally good. It's overall good. I still have some complaints about it, but overall it's good. So Square Enix is doing pretty well right now, but I feel like when it comes to spin-offs, they just don't, or at least like side spin-offs like this, as opposed to Bravely Default 2, which is just basically old school Final Fantasy now. they just don't really put in the effort for it right now, which is a shame because I would love another tactics game. You know what would be really cool? Imagine a tactics game where where it's kind of like the Cydia, where the characters you get are all the characters throughout all the Final Fantasy. So Final Fantasy Tactics Dissidia or something like that. Wouldn't that be awesome? You know? Number 4, Super Mario RPG. And again, I can already see the comments saying, Superstar Saga series? Paper Mario? No. Just like how I mentioned in the last one, I like JRPGs. I love the earlier Final Fantasies. I like some of the newer Final Fantasies as well. But those old school ones, like 6, like 4, like 7, were my absolute jam. Is 7 more modern? I don't know. And when you told me that you were taking Mario and Square Enix, or back then Squaresoft, and smushing them together, I would have never expected to get one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I'm probably going to play it on the channel someday. I really don't know what to say about this game. I think it takes every hallmark that I love about the RPG genre, the JRPG genre, the character growth, the combat, the stat progression, the over-the-top bosses, the hidden bosses, everything that makes JRPGs so good, and just adds it and just puts it on top of a layer of a concept I already like, in this case, Mario. And those characters, and each of the characters too. Sure, Mario stays as the static, just general protagonist, but this is the first time we get to see Bowser's like actual character. This is the first time you're able to play Bowser outside of the kart game. Mello and Genos were both amazing, even if they massacred my boy and made him just a costume in Smash 4. And just seeing each of these characters just move around this world and giving more depth to who they are beyond just Peach being the damage and distress, Bowser being just the eponymous bad guy. Everything about it just screamed, this game is amazing, and it's such a shame that we have not gotten a sequel for it. Sure, the Paper Mario series is really good in its own right, but I would love for Nintendo and Square Enix now to come back and make a sequel to this game series. Now, the chances of this getting a sequel is, again, it's both good and bad. It's good in the sense that since Nintendo and Square Enix are on good terms, seeing as we have both Cloud and Sephiroth in Smash, there is a chance. But again, they don't really seem to be working on this other side games outside of their own in-house stuff. So, who knows, right? Number 3, Metal Gear Revengeance. I'm just gonna let this one clip right here play to showcase why I love this game so much.
There's a nature! Ignore this anime bullshit, cause it's the coolest fucking thing! Just throw this giant robot, cut off its arm, and then slice it down. This is the first time I saw this. I fucking screamed and was like, oh my fucking god.
This game is hype in its purest form. Everything about this game is just meant to make you feel like a badass. From the very first mission where you are suplexing a goddamn Metal Gear to the final mission where you're fighting a super senator. It just screams, we know what we're doing here, and we know it's stupid, but you're going to enjoy every single second of it. What else is there really to say about this game? This game is a cacophony of ideas that just happen to blend so perfectly well. For those who don't know how this game came into conception, after Metal Gear Solid 4, Kojima wanted to expand more on Raiden after we saw him become that badass cyborg ninja that we saw in 4. So in-house, they try to work on a system where they see him cutting and slicing shit based off their own skill set. However, it was blatantly clear that they did not know how to fully utilize it and make this world that they wanted to. So they instead asked the best people when it came to making these character action hack and slash games, Platinum. And they made one that not only perfectly fit into the Metal Gear Solid series lore, because Konami and Team Foxhound were working on the game's story, but the combat was everything you love about all the Platinum games. Sure, you can feel how dated it is compared to their later games like Bayonetta and Beautiful Joe and Wonderful 101, but there's still enough there that it's still a fun romp even to this day. Now, the chance of this getting a sequel, basically zero. Konami has showcased in the past couple of years that they don't want to be a video game company anymore. They want to be a casino. They want to be Skinner boxes for microtransactions. I think the last game they released was that Contra game, and it was terrible. Imagine having an overheat button in Contra. Depressing. Number 2, Jet Set Radio! God, you have to say it like that, I'm sorry. You gotta say it like you're DJ Professor K. Now, this game more so than any is the hardest when it comes to describing what it is. It's like a neo action skating neo-punk platformer with racing elements and like rugby elements in there, kind of. It's really hard to explain. And the original was kind of dated. It's kind of dated. Let's be honest here. The original was a really dated game, between having to stop to spray paint and the controls not being all that tight. But then you hit the sequel and they cleaned up the controls. They made the spray painting more fun and basically rebooted this series. And overall, it is just so much goddamn fun. I can't even describe what makes it fun. I think it's just the general smoothness of the platforming, even though you're on skates. There'll be times here and there where you miss things, but when you land that trick or you're jumping off of multiple like billboards going up a skyscraper, you're like, yes, this is the hype-ish shit. This has no right being as cool as it fucking is, but I love it. Now, what are the chances of this getting a sequel? Again, basically zero, at least from Sega, because there was a team that even brought a tech demo in like a new school neo cyberpunkish look, cel shaded look, and Sega shot that down. And then they had an announcement not soon after where they said, "Look, we made Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future when we were a younger, more passionate team, and unless a newer set of younger, more passionate people come by, it's not gonna happen." Luckily, we have Team Reptile, who basically pulled a Thanos and was like, fine, I'll do it myself. And they're effectively making the Jet Set Radio Future of the current day and age. And they're calling it Bomb City Rush. And everyone and their mother who was excited about Jet Set Radio Future got hype about it. Because after seeing their original game, Lethal Blaze League, and how much it was heavily inspired by Jet Set Radio, so much so that one of the characters, I believe her name is Rice, is basically ripped straight from the Jet Set Radio universe, people went nuts. So when we saw that just 10-second trailer of just a little bit of the skating, a little bit of the spray painting, people were like, oh, okay, we know what you're doing. We know exactly what you're doing. They even have the legendary Hideki, I'm probably going to say his name wrong, Hideki Nagamura, the guy who did the soundtrack for the first 2 Jet Set Radio games, are doing it here too. So I cannot wait for that sequel. I just cannot wait. And number 1, I'm not going to say the title. I'm going to let the game do that itself.
E-P-A 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 E-P-A
Now, I could already see the comments yet again. Oh, just play Osu. No. I have nothing against Osu, but it's not just the tapping along to recognizable songs that makes me love Elite Beat Agents. It's every single thing, from the concept of what's going on, effectively secret agents, dancing to boost the morale and basically be like almost stands for these people, to the story arc of what's going on between each of these characters. Except this dumb fuck who went back to his goddamn gold digging bitch of a wife after she kicked him out to dry. Bruh, leave her ass. You can literally do better. To the ultimate ending where you literally get the entire world dancing and jamming out together to fire out a spirit Kamehameha bomb at the alien threat through the power of music. It is like Gurren Lagann levels of epic. I love every single aspect that goes along with it. And it helps that a lot of these songs I already knew and were already had positive feelings for. So then I just got it again with these little characters basically working through their problems to the power of music. What isn't to love? It's such just general fun that it's so hard to describe. Now, the chance of this getting a sequel, though, is basically zero. If you watch Did You Know Gaming's video on it, they kind of went into detail about why it's not getting a sequel and what happened to that make it so it didn't get a sequel. And it's such a shame. Sure, Osu is there to hit that music tapping along thing, but I don't think I'm ever going to get a game that's close to this. But I do have one game right now, Friday Night Funkin', that kind of fills that niche at least a little bit. Either way, this is again my personal list of just games that I want a sequel for. So you know what's happening here. My general end of the video thoughts talking about just the video game industry, my life, etc, etc. First off, I have a laundry list of subs I need to thank. I think a decent chunk of them have come from the Nocturne video that got popular again. I think because of James Too Cool's Persona 3 in a Nutshell 2 video, which you should go watch because it's 10 times better than I'll ever make. So I'm going to try to remember to link that in the description below. But for the subs, we have Sora X Riku 4. It's going to be a while. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I got a pretty decent size of them. Jinkies. Zero of a Chance S. That's space S, by the way. Micah N. I'm still scrolling here. It's gonna be a while. Haza Kaka. I should probably write these down to make it a little bit easier for myself as opposed to going like this. Zach Johnson. Darian McDuffie. Still, Bob Ross 429. Agent S. We're still going. We're still going. I believe I had one or two more. Mad Hatter Animation, Jack Frost from the Shin Megami Tensei series, that's his actual name by the way, Capitan Doritos, again it said like that, I'm not trying to be racist or anything. Still scrolling. Jack the Painter. And I believe that is it. Nope, we're still going. Ace of Blackjack. I should next time I'm actually gonna have all these recorded in just one place, so I don't have to keep scrolling like this. And I believe I have one final one now. Okay, no, that should be good. Either way, what's happening in the video game industry now? We have that Wukong video game trailer that everyone's getting hype about because, again, getting to play as Wukong is really cool. What else? Oh, the entirety of the GameStop debacle thing that went on. But there's not really much to say about that. It's already come and gone. Basically, Reddit figured out a way to troll, like, these stock market people, and they did just that. And for a while, literally billions of dollars were lost because of it. So that's always good. What else? What else is happening? What else happened in the video game industry? There's something else I want to talk about. Let me see if I can pull it up real fast. Let's see. Oh, right. Cyberpunk 2077 source code got stolen and auctioned on the dark web. I don't really have much about that, but that did happen. Oh, and Stadia shut down its first-party studios because, again, no one's using Stadia because it's a shit system. And speaking of Stadia, because of the massive failure... Yeah, because of the massive failure that is Stadia, and as well as Google outright fucking over the Terraria main dev by like literally locking him out of his account and getting no showcase of why it's happening. He decided to pull Terraria off Stadia, and there were some douchebag people who are like, don't punish us because Google's fucking you over. So people unironically out there are like, look, you should suffer just so I have more convenience. Pieces of shit. The butt thing, that's the butt controversy happening in Mass Effect, where they have, in the original Mass Effect 1 and 2, well, more so 2, because of Miranda, a lot of shots were focused directly on her ass, even times where it had no reason to, so that, a lot of the angles got changed, but because it's gonna be on PC, people are gonna mod it to bring back the ass shots. In more lighthearted news, the producers and art direction people for Resident Evil 8, when it comes to the giant vampire lady, MILF, apparently they don't quite understand why people like their character so much. So they were like, on their Twitter, they're like, oh, I'm so glad so many people like our character. So many people have been asking her height. She's 9'6". I hope you do well with this information. And it's like, do you guys really not know why people are interested? No? Okay, that's fine. And the final thing that comes to mind is WB Games is trying to patent the Nemesis system. So they're literally trying to patent mechanics in games now because they're pieces of trash. So, right directly after this video, I'm probably making a thank you video since I've hit my next milestone. I hit it a lot faster than I thought I would. And I know it's all from effectively the Cyborg video and the Nocturne video. And don't feel like you have to sub. You do not have to sub to me. Because, again, that's not going to be my normal content. It just really isn't. That's all utter flash in the pan, just general thoughts I have every once in a while where the idea just comes to mind. So don't expect that as my norm, and if you want that as my norm, I'm just being honest, Just showing that respect. I will also rather soon be starting my next major LP, which I'll be nuzlocking. And during that nuzlock, there is a game that I have been wanting to play for literally, a year now, that's finally coming to America, and if you're able to piece it together what it is, yeah. I'll also be playing it at the same time we'll be playing the Nuzlocke I'll be doing. Either way, I want everyone out there to have a good morning, evening, day, or night, wherever you're at. But for right now, I'm out. Later.